how to read scholarly or peer-reviewed sources. Reading peer-reviewed sources is an essential part of the college research process. Learning how to read these sources can be a challenge, especially for beginning students or first-year composition students, but it is possible to apply some strategies to make it easier. First off, you have to start reading these sources methodically. You're going to expect that they're going to be a little bit more challenging than your typical newspaper or magazine source, so give yourself time. Reading methodically means you're going to preview, read, analyze, and review. This is not going to be a one and done kind of situation. Expecting that ahead of time will make the whole thing less frustrating. First, preview the article. Take a first pass and look over the article. Read the abstract, read the introduction, skim the body of the essay. See if you can figure out what the research methodology is, if there are sample sizes or statistical methods. Skim the discussion and read the conclusion. If at any point during this first pass you realize that there are methodologies, mathematical knowledge, or statistical issues in the paper that you just do not understand, it might be a good idea to pass on that essay and go to a different one. Once you've scanned over the article and are assured that it is in fact appropriate for your level of knowledge and ability, it's time to start reading actively. First, identify sections. Most articles, if you download the PDF, are broken up into individual sections that are labeled with specific headings. Pace your reading. Don't try to do all of this in a single setting. Read actively. Make sure that you're highlighting, taking notes in the margins, identifying important concepts, and maybe most importantly, identifying words, terms, and concepts that you need to look up in other sources. When you approach a peer-reviewed article, you should expect that there will be things you don't know and don't understand, and you're going to have to identify questions and figure out how to look up answers to these questions and information. Once you've read, you want to analyze. What conversation is this article responding to? Look especially at the introduction or the literature review, which will help you understand what exigency the authors are addressing. Look at how the argument is developed. Is this quantitative or qualitative? Can you identify the kind of methodology? Is it a combination? Also analyze and figure out what you don't understand. Is there a way that you can bridge your knowledge and get to a point where you do understand, or is the article using statistical methods or mathematical knowledge that's just above your head and beyond your capabilities at this point? Finally, you're going to need to review. This is not a newspaper article, so plan on rereading it in full or in part. Your highlights and notes can help with this because you can zero in on the parts that are most important or most confusing. Take a look at the reference page or the resources that the article cites. This could be in the footnotes or in the back with the work cited or reference or bibliography. You can often use these as a way to do future research. Those citations can act as breadcrumb trails for other sources you might want to look at. So when you're using a peer-reviewed source, you need to ask yourself a few questions. First of all, have you read the whole thing? If you haven't read the whole thing, if you can't read the whole thing, you cannot use that source in your paper. Do you understand the methodology, or is it using mathematical constructs that are too advanced for where you currently are? Is it presenting appropriate information, or is it way too specific? And does it support the other sources you have, or is this peer-reviewed source somehow a completely different topic than what you're actually asking a question about? Going through the peer-reviewed source methodically can be a little bit tricky and take a little bit more time, but in the end, you can use them effectively in even a first-year composition paper.